Welcome to Niggle Dad. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made a dice roller. So I play Dungeons and Dragons, and when you play Dungeons and Dragons, you have a lot of these dice, right? And you have to roll them, and the result is always random. So I did a little fun program on the robot inventor that basically you roll dice. So for example, let me show you how it works. When you run the program, it'll start out with a 20-sided dice, which is the most common of the dice. And when you shake it, it rolls the dice and it gives you a result. This time it was a 5. So you shake it again, rolls an 8. My rolls aren't very good this time around. Ooh, 15. That might have been a better roll. So it does a random number on a 20-sided dice. Now, if you want to change the dice, for example, I can go to a 12-sided dice, go back up to a 20, 12, 10, an 8-sided dice, 6-sided dice, 4-sided dice, a 2-sided dice, which is basically a coin, and a 100-sided dice. So for example, if I were to roll a 20-sided dice, it gives me a 7. If I roll a 10-sided dice, it's an 8, so that's pretty good. If I roll an 8-sided dice, a 3. Roll it again, a 4. I'm going to change it to a 6-sided dice, a 1. The animation for a 4-sided dice is a little pyramid, a little triangle, because that's what the 4-sided dice look like. So when you roll it, it rolls around and it gives you the result out of the. When you do a 2-sided dice, which is kind of like a coin, you just flip a coin. A 1. A 1. Not very good luck. 2. And then finally the 100-sided dice. So when you roll the 100-sided dice, if it's under 20, it'll display the number. If it's over 20, like 21 and above, wow, on the 100-sided dice, I'm really rolling low. If you roll high, like a 99, it'll actually write it down. And I'll show you what it looks like in the program itself. So in the program itself, it's quite simple at the beginning. The program starts and it sets the orientation to on the right side, and then it turns on the 20, and it actually starts setting the dice size to 20, and I set my I, which is my counter, to 1. And I stop the stack. So it is now waiting for 2 things. It is either waiting for it to be shaken, or it's waiting for it to push either the right button or the left button. So let me show you. When I push the right button, it'll increase my counter from I. It'll add 1 to it. So for example, when it's at 20, my counter is 1. When it is a 12, my counter is 2, and so on and so on, until it reaches 8. I have 8 different sizes. When it reaches 8, it'll reset the counter back to 1. And anyway, that is the loop. It's a very similar loop to the left one, except it's inverted. Instead of greater than 8, it's less than 1. So and now I want to show you what this is. I have my dice. Well, first of all, I have my variables. I have the dice size. Currently is a 20, and so when I change it to a 12, it shows the next variable changed to a 12. Now it's a 10. Now it's an 8. And when you roll, it'll change the roll results to a 3, and it'll display the 3 right here. Now, this down here is my list. It's my list of dice. So I have 8 dice. I have a 20, a 12, a 10, an 8, a 6, a 4, a 2, and a 100-sided dice. There's 8 of them. So when I shake the dice, it'll set the roll results to 0, meaning when I shake the dice, the roll result right here is 0, meaning it's still determining. And then it goes into the my block function, the roll animation. And so it'll, let me go to the roll animation. What it does right here, it determines what size of die you're on. So the dice size, if it's a 20, a 100, or a 12, it'll use the D20 animation. So I'll show you. The D20 animation is kind of looks like this. In a way, it kind of tries to resemble this shape. So when it's a 20-sided dice, a 12-sided dice is very similar, and a 100-sided dice, which I don't have, it's like a big golf ball full of 100 facets, and that's what the 100-sided dice. So for either one of these, it shows the D20 animation. When it's a 10 or an 8, if you see, they're kind of like diamond-shaped looking dice. So it kind of, the animation looks like a diamond shape. When it does a 6-sided dice, you all know that it is a cube. So when you shake it, it does a little cube. The 4-sided dice, like I said, it's a little pyramid, and it does a little, it does a little animation for that. The 2-sided dice is just basically a coin. It's a coin flip. So it's a coin flip animation. So that is the roll animation function that I'm displaying right there. And finally, the display results. So the display results is a little trickier. For example, it has to go through 20 results, and I had to do the turn on the image, the little drawing, the lights for, and I kind of made a 20, a 19, and 18 all the way down to a 1. If you can see, this is going to be way too tedious to do on a 100-sided dice. So when you go on a 100-sided dice, if the result is 1 through 20, it'll show you a 1 through 20 here. But if it's greater than 20, like a 21 to 100, it'll actually just write the result. And I'll show you how that happens. It determines the die size, right? So it'll pick a random number between 1 and the die size. If the die size happens to be 100, then the random number is going to be 1 to 100. If the die size happens to be a 4-sided dice, then the random number is 1 to 4. Basically, that's the program that is doing. Now, if the roll result is greater or less than 21, then it'll display the roll function, which is this that I've already done, the 1 through 20. However, if it is else, meaning it's another result from, greater than 20, then it'll write the roll results, and then it'll turn on the light after it's done. So I'll show you. It'll roll, it'll display. I'm rolling the small numbers again on the 100. So 74, and then it'll go back to displaying the 100. And then that ends the stack. And I hope you guys enjoyed my program.